Good evening, everyone. This is a regular board meeting of the County of Defendant School District Board of Trustees. Today is May the 22nd and the time is now 6 p.m., 18 hours. Please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. And if we have some students that they would like to join us with the Pledge of Allegiance, please come to the front. Thank you.
The time is 6 o'clock. It is May 22nd, 2022.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Gomez, would you mind if we do a moment of silence for the children that passed away?
I don't think everyone heard me.
Say it again, please.
Can you all please stand, and we're going to honor the victims of Santa Fe High School. Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Gomez, can you please call roll?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Brigham?
Present.
Mr. Coronado?
Here.
Ms. Trixie?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Present.
Mrs. Searles?
Here.
Mrs. Trout?
Present.
And Mrs. Iglesias?
Here.
Thank you.
The CISD mission and vision statements, please, Mr. Coronado and Mrs. Searles.
All right. Canutillo ISD is a premier school district with nationally ranked, multi-literate graduates ready to excel in college, their careers, their community, and in life.
Canutillo ISD's purpose is to provide a high-quality educational experience that will inspire and prepare all students to apply the knowledge and skills necessary to become effective leaders and productive citizens.
Thank you very much. Now,
Item number 2, updates from the board president.
thank you. Community of Canutillo, fellow board members and Superintendent Dr. Galaviz, and our legal representative, our attorney, Steve Blanco, thank you for being here tonight. I would like to take some few moments and share some announcements with you. Last week was the Armed Forces Appreciation Day, and on May the 28th will be a Memorial Day. I would like to ask if there's any active duty veteran or someone who has a member in the family serving on the United States Army, Air Force, Marine Corps, National Guard, and Coast Guard. Please stand up as we recognize you. For the freedom to our beloved country. Also, I'd like to inform that we will be offering a new service for our community, that we will be having our Spanish translator every time that we have a board meeting. This is for your convenience because we think that it's very important to us to have a good and open communication. Thank you. Also, it is time to celebrate our students. I'd like to extend this invitation to the public to our graduation ceremonies. For Norwest Early College, graduation will be on May the 25th at the McGoffin Auditorium at 6 p.m. For Canutillo High School, graduation will be on June the 8th at the Don Haskins Center at 2 p.m. Muy buenas tardes, apreciable comunidad de Canutillo. Sean ustedes muy bienvenidos a esta junta del Consejo de la Mesa Directiva del Distrito Escolar de Canutillo. Quiero informarles que implementamos un nuevo segmento de traducción al español para quien lo solicite en el escritorio de esta recepción. Si usted gusta, puede hacerlo ahora mismo. Y habrá personal esperándole para asistirle en esta necesidad. Esto es con el fin de ampliar los lazos de comunicación entre nuestra comunidad y su distrito escolar. También siéntase libre de expresarse en su propio idioma para cualquier pregunta u opinión, ya sea en el segmento de comentario público en el cual existen pólizas con términos y obligaciones legales de la Constitución de Texas de la libertad de expresión, así como la conducta de la misma. El Consejo de la Mesa Directiva o Board of Trustees les agradecemos su participación y estaremos aquí para escuchar. Muchas gracias. And to my fellow board members, just to be able to properly translate our board meetings, it is important that each member respectfully take turns speaking and follow board team operating procedures. Board members will demonstrate respect to fellow board members and public participants through the following behaviors. Speak only after acknowledgement from the board president. Refrain from dominating the conversation. Refrain from condescending or critical comments to members of the staff, public, or board. Make decisions in the context of what is the best for all students in this district. Follow the procedures for visiting school campuses and other facilities. Deal directly with the superintendent and not to attempt to handle school business matters with other district employees. The board team operating procedures are here to increase the efficiency and effectiveness of board. These procedures, when applied diligently, will help us to take good decisions in the best interest of our students. Thank you again, Board, for all you do, and it's an honor for me to serve. Gomez, can we please?
Yes, ma'am. Item number 3, board honors.
Good evening, Board President Trout, members of the board, Dr. Galaviz. Please join us in the front of the dais to begin our monthly board recognitions. Okay. Well, Ganadillo High School senior Ricardo Vasquez was selected as a Gates Scholar and became a member of the Gates Scholarship inaugural class of 2018. Vasquez was chosen as one of 300 scholars from a pool of more than 28,700 applicants from across the nation. The prestigious Gates Scholarship Program, supported by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, is a highly selective full scholarship for exceptional Pell-eligible minority high school seniors. The Gates Scholars are members of an elite group of young leaders, all of whom represent the very pinnacle of academic achievement and have left marks on their communities. Vasquez is graduating as one of the top students in his class, was accepted to several prestigious universities, and has chosen Boston University. Congratulations, Ricardo. Thank you. Calculating mathematical formulas is a cinch to the Ganadillo High School math team. The Math Whizzes competed at the UIL Academic State Meet at the University of Texas at Austin and took home first place as a team in the Calculator Applications event. This is the first UIL Academic State Championship to come out of Ganadillo and also El Paso. All 4 Ganadillo team members finished in the top 10 of 24 competitors. Leading the team, also earning individual medals at the state meet, were Gabriel Carrillo, 2nd place, Ricardo Corona, 4th place, Brian Lara, 6th place, and Carlos Tovar finished in 8th place. All year, this team has held 1st place and swept competitions in the region and state. Congratulations, you represent Ganadillo well. If parents would like to come up and join us for a picture. Parents, Carrillo. Ms. Clapsaddle, can we have you in the picture, please?
We know this is your son over here. Unless you want to claim him. I'll take him. I'll take him. One. Oh, one. Here. Okay, let me do it. There you go. Perfect. 1, 0. There you go.
Congratulations again. The Ganadillo Eagle Technology Robotics team won the West Texas Regional Championship. What an accomplishment. Congratulations, and please come up as I call your name. Sponsor, Hector Acosta. Alexis Hernandez. Oscar Lopez. Michael Alan Alvarez. Christopher Strayer. Eric Valdez. Ever Del Bell. Oscar Alvaro. Alvarado, I'm sorry. Alan Miranda. And Alejandro Ortiz. Can we have parents join us for a picture, please? Principal Clapsaddle.
Come on, parents. Come on, get up, please. You're not going to take a picture with us?
Yes, I will.
Only the man?
Just one.
Come on, Miss Beth. Oh.
In my car. Okay, one. Smile.
Smile, right now. You're not going to do another picture, Miss? And just come on.
We'll send you on in.
Come on, Miss.
One more picture.
Oh, sorry. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Next recognition is for the CHS and Northwest teams for taking first and second place at the 2018 STEAMEX. STEAMEX is a unique multi-dimensional event targeting over 1,000 high school and middle school students in our region. The purpose of STEAMEX is to increase their awareness of opportunities in STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, education, and careers, and highlight national STEM role models. And of course, our district has several winners. Please come up after your name is called. Alejandro Garcia, first place in chess. I hope I say this right. Max Oyelinde, first place in 3D design, and Jonathan Nieves, second place in architecture. Next is Aya Abdel-Jawad and Christopher Lawson, first place in Java programming. Parents, can you please join us for a picture? And both principals, please. Thank you. Next, the National Center for Women and Information Technology and the Regional Affiliate Selection Committee recognized Catherine Tabor as the winner of the 2018 Texas El Paso NCIIT Aspirations in Computing Educator Award. The award is for those who have demonstrated a commitment to encouraging young women's aspirations in computing. Catherine, congratulations. Aya Abdel-Jawad, a junior at Northwest, has been selected as a 2018 Greater El Paso affiliate an honorable mention award for aspirations in computing. Yvette Aguilar, a senior at Northwest, has been selected as the 2018 Greater El Paso award for aspirations in computing. They were chosen because of their computing-related aspirations and achievements, and for their leadership ability, academic performance, and future plans. Congratulations, ladies. Parents, can you join us up front?
Son. His favorite son. Teenage son.
Girl power. That's right. And then number 12. Yeah. Yes. Or maybe in the second one. Okay, one.
Thank you. Next, we're going to recognize a few amazing things different CTE programs have been doing. And we will start with DECA. The DECA chapter participated in the 2018 DECA State Career Development Conference in Dallas, Texas. The results were as follows. Innovation Plan State Finalists, CHS students Chelsea Cabral and Nick Bonilla. Startup Business Plan, State Finalists and Qualifiers for International Career and Development Competition, CHS students Romelia Acosta, Nadia Avila, and Diego Cadena. Parents, can you join us up front for a picture?
That's you again, Dario.
Yes, me too.
Let me tell you.
We're going to mention a few others.
Two other state qualifiers that are here. Bernie, Ray Fernandez, and Jennifer Diego. They are here. They're state qualifiers. And
Thank you. Next, the Canutillo High School Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, FCCLA, chapter was recognized for meeting the qualifications as an outstanding FCCLA chapter in Texas for the 17-18 school year. Congratulations to Angelica Yanez, Ian Garcia, Andrew Ponce, Jorge Medina, and Madison Orozco, who is about to be competing at Nationals in Atlanta, Georgia, and their sponsor, Crystal. Can I invite parents to please take a picture up front? And Madison Orozco is an FCCLA regional officer, I believe the first in about 20 years. We have all parents?
Can I get with my daughter?
Thank you. Next, we have a lot of awards tonight. The CHS Skills USA chapter competed in Corpus Christi, Texas. The forensic science team won 3rd place in state in the forensic science competition, which included a general knowledge of Skills USA test, the processing of a crime scene, including sketching, photography, the evidence collection, and an analysis of evidence recovered from that scene. This earned them a bronze medal at the competitive event. CHS Forensic Science STEM teacher Dina Thompson worked very hard alongside these students, and it paid off. The girls that made up the team were Viviana Gonzalez and Amorete Ramirez. Parents, please join us in the front for our picture.
Congratulations, felicidades. Congratulations.
The CHS building entry team did extremely well. It's still under the USA Skills. Did extremely well at the Skills USA state competition. They set another record by bringing home the gold 2 years in a row. Constable Summers and the CTE department are very proud of this hardworking team. The CHS students that made up the building entry team: Brian Moreno, Carolina Torres, Brianna Reyes, and Brianna Valderrama. Can we have all the parents up front for a photo, please?
It's never been done 2 years in a row.
Correct. Never been done.
Or maybe if you go up on the second step, kind of be, okay, that works. Okay, one. Oh, Dr. Monavi, are you a little bit more? Yes. There you go. One.
Thank you. Both the CHS and Northwest Future Business Leaders of America, FBLA chapters, traveled to Dallas, Texas to compete at a state level against other statewide chapters. Qualifying competitors will advance to the FBLA National Conference in Baltimore. And today we recognize first place Hospitality Management, Ames Valdez and Gabriel Carrillo. Fourth place Community Service Project, Juliana Ramos. Fourth place E-Business, Antonio Fraile. And fourth place Job Interview, Raimundo Fernandez. Parents, can I invite you to the front for a picture? One more. Thank you and congratulations. Congratulations, Tracy Andrews. There's some great things happening in CTE. Just a few more. School nurses are critical to the health, safety, and well-being of our students. It is an incredible honor to recognize the contributions to student health and learning that school nurses make every day. Students across the country are able to fully access their education because of the interventions and actions performed by school nurses. Thank you, and please come up when your name is called. From CES, Batsabi, Britain. From Reyes Elementary, Grace Bajal. And from DAEP, Claudia Maldonado. From AMS, Michelle Machetti. And from Diana Davenport, Christy Garcia. Would any family members like to join us in the front for pictures? And Dr. Reyes?
Yeah.
Thank you. And for our last board honor of the night, recognizing Canopio ISD's employees who make a difference, 3 outstanding individuals were chosen for the district, the District Elementary and Secondary Teachers of the Year and the District Auxiliary Employee of the Year. The District Elementary and Secondary Teachers of the Year will represent Canopio at the Region 19 Teacher of the Year competition in August. First, CISD Auxiliary Employee of the Year from Northwest, Natasha Piñero. Ms. Piñero is a catering manager at Northwest, and she goes above and beyond the scope of her work, always making sure to cater to the needs of the students, from providing vegetarian options to standing outside by the bus stop and getting students a to-go breakfast on their way to EPCC. Your hard work is noticed and appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Next, our CISD Elementary Teacher of the Year, Monica Lane, is a special education teacher at Jose Damian Elementary with over 29 years of experience. She works countless hours to not just write lesson plans, but works on ways to help build great relationships with all stakeholders, but always keeping her kids first. She sets high expectations, but provides her kids with all the necessary tools to meet them. Ms. Lane gets to work early and is on most occasions the last to leave. She touches lives on a daily basis, and she's a teacher that you will always remember. Congratulations, Ms. Lane. Can any family and Mr. Barba join us in the front for a picture?
Yes.
Just like that. Okay, we're good? Okay. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, Mary,
Thank you. Lastly, CISD Secondary Teacher of the Year from Canopio High School, Holly Lopez. A math sped teacher, and her belief that every student can be successful in their learning. She sees only potential in every student. She believes in her student, and this in turn motivates them. Congratulations, Holly. Can I have any family and Ms. Clapsaddle in the front for a picture, please?
I know you will. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'll be right there. Yeah. Yeah. And then like that? No. There you go. Once you get
Yeah, I think.
What do you mean? Right on the bottom? Yeah.
I have a measuring tape, I can organize it.
Wait, come here, something's going on here.
No, I'm sorry, I'm good. Right,
Yes, perfect. One, that's right here. Look at it a hole. Okay, one.
Thank you. Congratulations, everyone. Board members, this concludes this month's recognition. Thank you. Ms. Sonia, please, next item.
Yes, ma'am. Item number 4, open forum. Any person wishing to address the board during the period reserved for public comment at a board meeting must sign up to be heard in accordance with District Policy BED Local. Number 1, each participant will be limited to 3 minutes to make comments to the board. Number 2, any group of 5 or more persons must appoint one person to present the board's views to the board. To present the group's views to the board. Item number 3, the board is not permitted to discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on the agenda for tonight's meeting. Madam President, we have 2 speakers, and the first speaker is Russell Ortiz.
Well, good evening. Thank you for allowing me to talk. It's a pleasure to be here. What a wonderful district we have with all these awards. It's a wonderful thing. My name is Russell Ortiz. I have 2 boys currently going to the district, one at CMS and one at the high school. Also, my wife volunteers extensively here with the district. Wanted to come and talk. As everybody knows, there has been quite a bit of school violence, going throughout the country, unfortunately. As you know, the shootings in Santa Fe, Texas, are just tragic. While there were deaths, many were prevented due to the local police force, the presence that was there. Not sure if you guys are aware, but a couple weeks ago, one of the local news media outlets did a piece on our actual police department here. And with your permission, at first, I wanted to bring that up and actually honor Chief Carrillo for the work that he does for this district. It's super important that we need to stay on top of that with what he has, with very few resources that he has. What I would like to challenge you guys is if there's something that we can do to help enforce that, to get him some more people, some more funds, anything to help that out. Because our children are more important than anything there is here. And you guys have heard all the media about that we're spending more money on other kinds of enforcement, but not for our own children. And that's such a precious commodity to us. So like I said, if we could we give Chief Carrillo and his group a round of applause? With that, like I said, thank you for allowing me to talk. I just hope there's something that we can do. I know that he handles some safety meetings, I think on a monthly or bi-monthly basis. I encourage everybody to attend those. I will start attending those, and hopefully we can do something. But we have to do something. Just talking's not helping. And unfortunately, it's a nationwide problem. And what better way to start than here with our own community, and then see what we can do to help out the rest of the country. Thank you.
Our second speaker is Ms. Ontiveros.
Good evening, school board members, superintendent, and members of the audience who are still here. Congratulations on all the awards that were awarded today. A lot has to do with our children. And speaking of our children, I've been in the Canutillo School District for over 45 years. Some years ago, there was a project for an ag building on Donovan. I don't know how many of you on the school board were here or are aware, and there were so many people involved in making a big state-of-the-art ag building, but apparently it fell through the cracks. I remember distinctly, we had so many donors. One of them was from a foundation, and he donated $250,000 for this project, for that ag building. And eventually, through meetings and everything that went through, they only had 5 years with that $250,000 to use it. Otherwise, it would be voided. And apparently, the 5 years ran out. It was dissolved, nothing became of it. Now, about a month or so ago, I hear that there was another try for the ag building, whether it's 4 acres or 24 acres. The meeting that was held here was the same time that the Village of Vinton has their meetings. So you cannot split yourself between 2 meetings. So as a taxpayer of more than 45 years, I would like to have the board reconsider changing from the 4-acre lot that you all approved to the 24-acre lot. There's no way you can get 4 acres for a full ag building. For those of us who have been in the country living for so many years, 4 acres is not enough. People are moving in, more students, and what will happen with 4 acres? Pretty soon it's going to be obsolete because we don't have enough space to add more to it. So please, board members, reconsider your vote and place it on the agenda again, and hope that those of you who really want to do something for our children, do that. Change your vote to the 24-acre spread that is available for the Canutillo ISD ag building. Thank you very much and have a very good evening.
Madam President, we did have the one last speaker, and that's Mrs. Speaker.
Good evening, board members, superintendent. I just wanted to present our class of 2018 photo this evening, and I've noticed that we have some missing in the hallway when we've been planning our 10-year celebration. So I have found the old photos from our first graduating class, and they are here this evening, and I've been assured that PIO will put all of them up. So thank you. Well, this is this.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Next item, Ms. Sonia.
Item number 5 is board business. Discussion and possible action regarding the implementation of a board inquiry request form. Ms. Trout.
Thank you very much. I hope everyone had the time to read this information that is on page number 7. I think it's a good procedure to implement this format for this district, so I would like to know to make a motion.
I go ahead and make a motion to implement this form.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me. Sure. You know, I already do. I'm not gonna put it on a form. You know, we have a log, which I appreciate. Thank you, Dr. Eloise. But I do think that, have the form is, you know, I mean, we absolutely do everything by computer, most of us. And I do it, you know, just right on and there. And everything we ask for is open to every single person. I think to jump through another hoop to get information, it's just, it's redundant, especially since we have the log. And you know, I'm not a big fan of the log, but I see its valid points. So, and all the time we always say, you know, whenever we ask for something, it absolutely gets shared with all of us, which it should be. But for a form, I mean, it's, you know, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I just get on the computer. A lot of times I do it from my phone, to download a form. It's just redundant when we have a log. I mean, there's no reason, if I'm sure that the administration would listen. They've been excellent in responding to my inquiries, and they get back to us. So I think the log, I think move forward with the log, and I just think that it just feels like we're being stifled for information, and I don't like that.
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'm going to second the motion. One of the things that I would like to see, if you don't submit if it's available online, great. And if not, that you would follow just a procedure. I think it's easy, putting the date,
Absolutely.
The name, the department,
Absolutely.
and the question, and then the reason for the question. So I don't have a problem. You could, to have that option that you could fill it out within the email, but just to put in these things, as long as one of the things is done, I think that would be okay. So.
I agree with you, Mr. Rodriguez, because I think that when I was looking at it, it's exactly what we put in. It's almost like who, what, when, where, what.
Yes.
And I just think for form, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna stick to my phone, I'm not gonna worry about it. And when it arises, I'll get the information, and like always, I'll be involved.
Yeah, I think it would make some consistency, and then just following some of the stuff. So I'm okay with either, if you're gonna do it email, you could do it, or you could follow the format. I'm sure the form will probably be online, so.
Go ahead, Ms. Ritchie.
Because the information that we're asking for, you could easily just copy paste it onto an email and then fill it out. So it's the same thing as if though you would do the form, as if though you were to fill out the form. So if you would just copy paste that onto an email, you would get the date the same. It just wouldn't be the form, but you would just answer each question as you need. So, I mean, yeah, as long as the information is all there.
Well, I guess my question, I guess my comment as an administrator is, I mean, why even have the form then? I mean, if you're not going to fill out the form, you can't have either or. Just have that general information there. And that, I mean, because the log, I am very generic on the log. And then those questions I'll put in Thursday's packet. So, but again, to say either or, why even have the form?
I think it's just to, if I might.
Go ahead, sir.
In regards to, I think the form would be simpler if it's online to do that. But if a board member feels they want to send an email within that, it's just to create some consistency. Is that my understanding? So, I mean, I don't mind either or, so.
I'm sorry.
Would this be?
Go ahead, Ms. Ritchie. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So we could just convert it into PDF files, so that way it's easier for you to fill it out.
The PDF file? Anyway, so the only
Madam
thing.
Chair, I have a question. Why?
Well, we need to get a transparency and consistency in what we're doing. And in order
that's
for us
too-
to,
that's
ma'am,
too
I'm
big,
talking,
but no, I
ma'am,
asked
I'm
you a
talking,
question.
I'm
That's too
talking.
big of a number.
I am talking and let me finish. I'm the board president, you're being warning now.
Oh. Excuse me.
Yes, you're excused.
Perdóname.
So
So
if
the
you're,
answer why?
if you still, Mrs.
Yes, I do.
Earls, you're gonna have to wait until I finish to talk. And please, I think I read very clear the board operating procedures. Please let me finish my answer. If it pleases you or not, that's my point of view. What I'm saying here is that we got in here in order to get more transparency and more order and give time to the persons here, they're working at stuff to accumulate all the information that we get so they could answer on time. The reason of the question is because we would like to know if we're going to do these questions in order to get an investigation or in order to get ourselves just an information. And the third is the staff, they need time to collect information. They need time to get the information that you needed. So all of us, we could have that information as well. Not only the person that is requesting, so we would like to copy it forward to all of us.
I might, or she had a...
Yeah, I'd like to respond to your rationale. I don't understand it. Could you please repeat?
Okay. What I said is that we have this in order to give time to the staff that is working here for the district to get all the information that we requested, to get a time and to get an order.
So with that said, I don't see how that's going to save them time.
It's going to save them time
I see
because
where it's causing volunteers who we are to be held to a standard which is different than any other board I've ever seen. And by the way, I am speaking. It's different to see something like this, and I am concerned that there's an isolation issue with this. That in so doing this, board members are not going to ask the questions that they need to know, because you've just given them a stumbling block to cause them not to ask those questions. And I see that in so doing, you're almost, putting up a wall for board members to have the access to the information that they need. Up until now, that I see this, I've never heard Dr. Galavis or his staff complain. And by law, by DEA law, the staff has to report every year what is asked of them. So I have a problem that I feel that this is causing an isolation area, which is bad. If you'll recall, the El Paso district was very much reprimanded by the state for isolating.
I don't think so. We're isolated, Mrs. Searles. But as a matter of fact, we need to report every kind of information that we request. We need to report in time, wisely, and expenses that we do in order that they make their investigations or information that we request. So this we need to be reported as well.
Just real quick, one of the things, going back to TA, I was going to mention earlier, but this is a way that data could be collected and sent to TA. And I think one of the things in communication in regards to some of the communication issues we had was the fact that I won't go into detail in regards to that, but that way, at least now we have a system in place saying, okay, you know what, there was a request, was that information processed and delivered to the board, and then we could go back and say, hey, Dr. Galavis, why haven't we addressed this?
I agree with your point, Armando. You need to address the word. I'm talking. Okay. In order for this, for example, it doesn't mean that we're not going to have the answers. All that we need is to follow in order. Still the date, the board member name, and the department, but it never says that we're not going to get the information. They're going to provide information to us through our questions.
So if I might finish, I don't have a problem with the process. I think putting processes and procedures in place is something that allows for the structure and the system of the organization to move and flow easily. So I don't have a problem with it. I think the thing that I would, if we're gonna be adding this to our board operating procedures, that, that this would be either, you have the option to fill out the form or send it through the email, but at least there's some consistency within the format, excuse me, so that way, that could be shared with staff.
Texas Education Agency as well.
So I have another
Everything is documented.
question, Madam President.
Yes, ma'am?
This is neither what you're doing, and I guess I'm going to direct this to Mr. Blanco. Mr. Blanco, this is not in our board operating procedures. It's not in our policy. It's obviously something that's just been thought of recently. So, does it need to go through the proper procedures of either being put into policy or put into board operating procedures?
The board operating procedures are governed by the board. You'll have to change them whenever you want to. If you want to add this as a requirement, you can add it. You can add it tonight, or you can choose not to.
Okay.
It doesn't have to go into policy for you guys to follow.
Okay, thank you, sir.
A recommendation is to include the board operating procedures.
There's a motion on the floor?
Yes.
Mr. Coronel, go ahead.
Madam Chair, thank you. I really think that, you know, I think we're probably requesting that if it's certain individuals on the board that are asking, I can see that if we're going to do this in terms of not to limit access, but to limit the time on staff. So, I agree with this. I don't necessarily think that you gotta put a reason for the request if it's a valid reason, but I think it should be in there. The other point that I want to make is that this particular request shouldn't deal with us requesting information from superintendent, not related to a department, but from him for us, because we directly supervise superintendent. So as long as that we don't, with that aspect, and I think it's very self-explanatory here. So I'm in agreement with it. I think it is, you know, we do need to we have very, very limited resources. We're still a small district that wants to be a big district and going to be. And we do need to kind of, we don't have unfettered time of our staff. They wear a lot of hats to begin with already. And so I think we need to do that and be responsible of the time we take our staff. That's fine. But I think we, you know, I don't see a problem with this request. And I don't get hung up on saying whether it's in a form or in a PDF or whatever. I mean, this is a new, we're in different times. I don't think we have to have a sheet of paper. If we can do it on a computer or phone, I think we should be able to do it. So.
There's a motion, second on the floor?
I have a
President Trump, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Coronado, are you then asking that this be modified to take out the reason for the questions?
Well, I'm not asking it to be taken out, but that's up to each individual board member whether you want to put it on there or not. It's in the request. I think it should stay in there.
Yes, Ms. Sonia?
I'm sorry, Madam President, can I have clarification on what this motion is? Because I know we've gone to two different versions. I just want that clarification unless Mr. Blanco can give it to me because I don't know
The
this.
motion was to approve the form of the request as presented in discussion, but I haven't heard anybody change the motion.
They mentioned board team operating procedures to add it, so no, it's only to approve the form. Okay.
What we added was that it would be part of the board operating
There's
procedure.
no second to that.
No, I am asking for my amendment,
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
and so that's what we're amending. And what it was to amend it. I'll say that this was the first. Is that okay with that too?
Do I need to amend my first motion as well?
Yes.
Yeah, but we need to understand what it is that Armando's motion is.
Okay, so my first motion is to make part of board operating procedures for the form to be part of our board procedure.
So you have to use the form.
Yes, to make inquiries.
And it would be.
Yes, and this would be the first reading.
It doesn't need to be.
No, okay, so no.
So the motion is approve the form, and you have to use the form to get the information.
That's correct.
Is there any second?
There was. Ms. Brigham.
No.
Mr. Coronado.
Yes.
Ms. Fritzie.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mrs. Searles.
No.
Mrs. Trout.
Yes.
And Mrs. Iglesias.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 5B, discussion and possible action regarding a nomination for Region 19 seat on the TASB board.
I'd like to make a nomination to go ahead and nominate Armando Rodriguez.
I would like, for the task
Second
board.
motion. There is a motion and a second on the floor. Yes, ma'am?
I would like to share the wealth. And I know a person that talked to me that's interested in it was Alba Lade. And so I'm going to also,
And I'll second that. Alva Larde.
I'm sorry.
Thanks.
We'll take them one at a time, Mr. Blanco? Alrighty. And this is going to be to nominate Mr. Rodriguez. We had a first and second. Ms. Brigham.
No.
Mr. Coronado.
Yes.
Ms. Fritzie.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mrs. Searles.
No.
Mrs. Trout.
Yes.
Mrs. Iglesias.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 6, consent.
So, administration recommends to approval or presented as presented. Ms. Gomez, please.
Yes, ma'am. These items are per the board team operating procedures. Items listed below may be included in the consent agenda for action together in one single vote. Minutes of a regular special board meeting, acceptance of financial reports, routine bid recommendations in alignment with district policy, approval of personnel contracts that comply with the district policy, requests for district facilities, annual renewal of Region 19 and TA agreements, gifts, donations, and bequeaths, and routine items.
I move to approve the agenda as presented. Madam Chair.
I have some items on here I'd like to pull.
Yes, ma'am?
I would like to remove items 7, 9, and 11.
7, 9, and 11.
And that would be under business services, 6A, 7, 9, 7, 9,
7, 9, and 11.
Okay. Okay, so there was a motion to approve the consent agenda. We have, is there a second?
Is there any second?
I'll second.
Excluding items 7, 9, and 11.
The only question that I do have, and one of the things that we talked about was, has there been any calls to doctors out of research staff that could streamline the board?
They fill out the form.
No,
Yes,
not
I
the
didn't
form.
fill out the form one.
There was no form, let's be honest. And the question, in regards to streamlining it, and hopefully in the future, what we're saying is, and what we said was to make sure you call the superintendent, whether it's that Monday, he should be available for any questions. That's the only thing that I was asking.
Madam Chair, may I speak?
Yes, ma'am?
Are we going to have to fill out the form for all of these questions that we want to ask for our regular agenda items?
Oh, I see.
Should, yes or no?
Well, for the form, for this one, if you're gonna make it now, you can make it. If it's gonna be in the future, you need to fill it out.
So we're going to need to fill out.
Not required form.
Not a required form.
It's request for information on the report.
Is there a motion in a second? There's a motion in a second.
Yes. Ms. Brigham.
Go ahead, go
With
ahead.
the exception of
7, 9, and 11.
7, 9, and 11.
Yes, sir. Ms.
Yes.
Brigham.
Yes.
Mr. Coronado.
Yes.
Ms. Fritzie.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mrs. Searles.
Yes.
Mrs. Trout.
Yes.
And Mrs. Iglesias.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 7, approval of a memorandum of understanding for preventative dental services between Canutillo ISD and the Department of State Health Services. Dr. Reyes.
coordinating school health facilitator, who is also an instrument in making sure that this MOU came to light.
Mrs. Searles, that be your question, please?
Yes, I'd just like to know, could you just give us a brief overview? I can read what's here written in the MOU and stuff, but can you just, y'all have been doing this a long time, from the heart, can you just tell it, what are our employees going to get?
Sure, so what we're gonna do is they're gonna actually identify a school, and then they'll go out to that campus. They're gonna work with all third grade students. They will look at all third grade students in that school, and then they will figure out if they're eligible, the word eligible there is in there, and to see if they're eligible for those services. So if they are in need for those services, and then they will take care of those children at that point.
So it's initial checkup. And what happens is they come to the campus, and they bring all of the equipment. So in essence, it's kind of a mobile unit that they will have. So that way the campus is becoming the dental site for those particular students.
That's so they, go ahead.
First of all, thank you for doing it. Okay. And is this going to be like a dental hygienist that will be coming in?
Yes, they have both. Yeah, they'll have both. Any services that they need, they'll have them.
It's under 2B. They'll provide a dentist, a dental hygienist.
A general, okay.
Yes, and then the portable dental equipment and supplies.
And the other question that I had, I was reading it in MO. And then do you have, I know the kids have to qualify, is that correct? So not all third graders will get it, it's only if they meet a criteria that was on that form?
Yes.
Okay, the other thing I was gonna ask you, is there any gap, not gap, one word, is there any help to the next step, like to get to the dentist?
I wanna say yes, because when I'm talking to
I couldn't see that.
the department,
okay,
they did say that they will give us that help. It's kind of similar to the Lions Club that we've been using.
see, that's what I was wondering, but I didn't see it, so I wasn't sure.
Similar to that if they need any extensive work, they will address the parents at that.
That's what, because I was reading, and I couldn't figure out if it was a, and also, so who's going to be the liaison? The district, will that be?
Me, that's
So Dr. Reyes, I got a question for you. This is going to be every once a week, twice a week, different campuses, they're going to rotate it?
It all depends on the department. From what I understand already, they already have a particular campus that they want to address first.
Oh.
And so they're going to be telling us which campus they want to see first, and then we'll go from there. If they have the opportunity to see another campus, then we'll certainly open that opportunity as well.
So certain kids are going to be selected, they're going to qualify? And...
Correct. So what happens is, let's say they designate campus 4. If so, all of the third graders in campus 4 will be screened or assessed or have that checkup. And once they've done that, based on their criteria and our attachment, if those qualify, let's say 50 out of the 102 third graders qualify, then they will pursue the next step. So it's a matter of just trying to see initially how we can assist kids with their dental issues, and then they're also working to collect data to see how they can better serve students. So it's kind of a win-win for us and for the Department of Health Services.
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to ask, are you doing, are you using any like, right? EPCC, the dental program, or is it just?
No, this is a separate entity that's solely run by the Department of State Health Services.
And when, Dr. Reyes, when you were mentioning that, say they have 102 kids and 33, let's just say, qualify and hope to get that. And so, which first of all, it's a great program, and I applaud them. Little children, extraordinary, so I appreciate that. But also too, so then, is there a group of dentists that then they're referred to?
I'm not sure if that is a group, yeah.
Because I think that might be the next step, I'm just curious.
I will tell you that what they are trying to also do is to educate parents.
Oh, of course.
So, if they don't have a group of dentists, at least we know that if those students do meet or qualify for the next step, then they will be working with those parents as well. So it's a win-win all the way around.
Well, I applaud this program. I'm just run out of, but when I was a kid, and so I do appreciate this, and I saw it, I was just so pleased. The only thing I could say is maybe if you could set up a network, parents, the next step, I know they'll need help. And thank you again.
Madam Chair, with that, I move to approve.
I second.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Brigham?
Yes.
Mr. Coronado?
Yes.
Ms. Fritzy?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mrs. Searles?
Yes.
Mrs. Trout?
Yes.
And Mrs. Iglesias?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 9, approval of a contract to renovate Portable 15 at Northwest Early College High School using local funds in an amount not to exceed $32,000. Mr. Vasquez?
Before that, I'll just make a motion.
Oh my God.
And I'll second.
Madam Chair, may I speak?
Good evening, board members. Dr. Gladys.
I just had a question.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yes.
Is this going to do everything that they need? Would it be, I mean, I hate to question your authority in any way, you are amazing. But is this better than buying a new building?
Well, yes.
Okay.
For several reasons, of course, the budgetary
Yes, sir.
constraints. Yes, so the answer is yes.
And is the building in reasonable shape that it'll be good for a couple more years with the improvements?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's in good condition.
Has air conditioning?
This one is one of those that we need to replace. Ultimately, we need to replace all of the HVAC units. However, if you recall, recently we did a project where we replaced it several ones. We went through the worst ones. This is not one that we had to replace right now. So it's in good condition.
Thank you. That was my only question. Thank you, ma'am.
There was a motion and a second.
Yes,
Ms. Brigham?
Mr. Coronado has a question, ma'am. Just give me 1 second.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
You know what, guys, this really is, and we can take a look at it down the road because it's not really part of it, but this really isn't sufficient. Looked at this, we should have done, and we couldn't find the funds to get administration in the permanent building that we did, and we were even going to make that smaller, but I think this is just a stopgap measure. We need to take a look at really doing right for the administration there because they shouldn't be the way they are and the way they used to be. It's horrible, but I think for now, as a stopgap measure, we need to do this, but we really need to start looking at down the road at how, the room around there at the multi-purpose building, they should be in that area. And we need to think about that.
Yes, ma'am. When I was looking at the budget amendment for this item, it looked like it came from instruction. It came from an 11 account to a 51 account. That kind of bothered me. But 11 is instruction. Moved from 11 to 51. It bothered me.
I would need to defer that to finance.
That
I asked for the money.
I know, but yes, so Dr. Galaviz, that was my question, and I didn't notice it until this afternoon when I was reading it. Thank you, Mrs. Pascal.
Yes, ma'am. It's on the budget amendments that you guys signed.
And I know you said that, ma'am, that it's not going to affect admin ratio. Of course, I understand that.
So it will affect.
Right. And the other thing is, it affects the instructional. So I have a little bit of problem when I know there's going to need computers for them. Because every year we get computers. And for us to take money out of instruction, it really bothers. So I guess Dr. Galvin said, at this time of year, I understand it, but I really would like that not to happen. Or something, or maybe a little bit more explanation, because when I saw that, the intent is just.
And I'd just like to say that this is a request from the campus.
Oh.
The petition.
I'm not saying that, I'm not saying it's from you at all, but what I'm saying is I know they'll be asking us in about a month and a half for about triple that for computers. And this would be, at least would have paid for a third of those computers. That was my concern. Thank you.
There was a motion and a second?
And a second.
Ms. Brigham?
Yes.
Mr. Coronado?
Yes.
Ms. Fritzie?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mrs. Searles?
Yes.
Mrs. Trout?
Yes.
And Mrs. Iglesias?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 11, approval of the request for proposals for a new portable classroom at Northwest Early College High School.
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I second.
And so, Madam Chair, may
Yes,
I
ma'am.
speak?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Vasquez, is this going to be an additional portable or replacement portable?
No, it's an additional, it's
Okay.
brand new.
But it won't replace
No.
anything? It'll
No,
just
we're-
be
Right now we
enlarging the
have
campus.
26. Well, we placed 27. It's not operational yet, since we moved it from another campus.
Yes, sir.
This one that you're voting
Yes.
on would be number 28.
Okay. But won't replace,
No.
just add to?
Add.
Okay. That
What
was
is the
it.
capacity for how many students, sir?
I'm sorry?
What is the capacity for students?
It depends on the classes. The different portables have the different
But
arrangements.
it's a good size.
It's the same size. It's,
And
in
is
fact,
the
it's a
other one?
little 2 feet longer than all the other ones that we have.
Good. Thank you, sir.
Just one comment, and going back to what I was mentioning earlier.
Yes, Mr. Rodriguez?
If we can, and we didn't get the answers, but if we could ask questions to Dr. Galavis before the meeting, so that way we could actually,
Madam Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
And I do understand your point of view, but you know what, I'm sorry. I'm going through heck, and you know what, I really do read this stuff. And I just feel, I love the thing that we're getting one, but I feel like we're just being stifled. You know, I mean, and sometimes, you know, the question like on the 11, I didn't see it. First 2 times I read it, I didn't see it. Now all of a sudden I saw 11 to 51. And that, the flag went up. It didn't go up at 10 o'clock this morning, and that would have even been too late. So I feel, I really do due diligence reading the packet. I really try. And I am just at my wit's end trying to just take it to board meeting. And I'm sorry. I cannot feel all these hoops. That's just.
well, I think if I might just.
Mr. Rodriguez, that's not on the agenda. Right now, the topic is approval of the new portable.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'm sorry.
When we talked about this, when we talked about one board meeting.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor, ma'am?
Yes.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Brigham?
Yes.
Mr. Coronado?
Yes.
Ms. Fritzie?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mrs. Searles?
Yes.
Mrs. Trout?
Yes.
And Mrs. Iglesias?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 7.
Thank you, Board.
New business, A report. Number 1, health plan update presented by Randy McGraw of International. I'm sorry, give me just a moment. We're going to go ahead and display this report.
Good evening, board members. Ms. Trout, Dr. Valdez. I just wanted to take this opportunity this evening. I know that some of you have probably already met Mr. Jose Ventura. He is our new benefits person. Actually, he started in February. So I just wanted you all to meet him and put a face to the name. So he is in our HR office, and he is working closely with Mr. McGraw. And Mr. McGraw is here this evening to give us an update on our health plan. He will give us a brief presentation just so that you all can have an idea of where we are with our health plan. I believe you all should have copies of his presentation.
Good evening, I'm Randy McGraw, Board President, Superintendent, member of the board with Hub International Insurance Services. Also with me this evening is Armando Arieta. He's part of our consulting team that works closely with Jose and Mrs. Crosco and your insurance committee. Here we go. So the news is all good. It's not as good as it was when I was here back in the fall, but it's still good and it's on the right track. So we've met with your committee here within the last month. We've had several meetings with Jose now that he's joined the team. I know he's hit the ground running and there's a lot of things that he's managing right now. Before I get started too, I want to say it's that time of year where board meetings across the state, there's a lot of recognitions. Really excited to see your mathematics team and the awards they got. I've sat through quite a lot of them and I just get excited every time I see that. So in our presentation, you're welcome to ask questions as we go. We'll start with page number 5 actually, and that begins with the tracking of the pace of inflation on the medical and prescription drugs that are the two big cost components that make up the health plan. So what you can see here is a historical map, and as you move towards the right, each point along the graph represents the pace of inflation of where we are today relative to where we were 12 months ago. So you can see right now on the far right-hand side that our prescription drug claims are on the increase, but that's because they've been declining. If you see that long gradual slope to the downward to the right, starting back in October of 2015, things have been improving ever since then on both the prescription drug and the medical claims expense. You can see that right now in the gray bar chart, we're averaging about a 3% pace of inflation, which is outperforming what most plan sponsors are experiencing right now. Pace of inflation for medical claims expense hovers around 6 to 7%, and prescription drug expense close to 9 to 11% these days. So the plan's performing well. On page number 6, we've got a year-over-year comparison of just some key metrics and totals there. So far, we're 4 months into the year. We've got claims data information, and the plan year runs on a calendar year basis from January through December. So we've got 4 months worth of information for this current plan year. It's running a little bit higher than it was in the past, but still things are looking pretty good. You can also see here that your enrollment in the plan has stayed at a pretty consistent level too, both in terms of employees and in terms of dependents that are covered under the plan for the last 2 years. On page number 7, this gives you a year-over-year perspective of how many employees were enrolled in each of the 4 benefit plans that are offered. I know for those of you that have been on the board for some time, there's been a lot of discussion about the premium plan. That's the most expensive plan that we offer. It's got the lowest deductibles, lowest copays. It actually has the best benefits that any district is offering right now in the Region 19 area in terms of benefits. You can see too that there was heavy discussion about a year ago whether or not to continue with that plan or to eliminate it. So it's still on the books. You've got 89 people, employees that are participating, so it has declined a little bit. One of the things that is good news here is you can see that there's been slow, steady growth into the CDHP plan, or that stands for Consumer Driven Health Plan. So that's a plan where employees have a larger deductible and larger cost sharing up front in terms of their share of the expense. It also has some tax favor provisions where they can set money aside So in other words, the money that they're paying to participate in the premium plan, if they were to join the consumer-driven health plan, they could take the money they're already spending, put it into that account, and use it to help offset their deductible and out-of-pocket expenses. So you can see year after year, without really any significant changes in deductions or benefits for the plans, more employees are starting to take notice of the consumer-driven health plan and migrate into that direction. On page number 8, this is a summary of large claims data compared to the last 2 years. And so the district does purchase reinsurance to protect itself from a catastrophic loss on any one single large claimant. You can see back in 2016, we had 5 people exceed the deductible. The district received $511,000 of reimbursement from the stop-loss carrier. Last year, we had 3 claimants at $414,000 reimbursement. So far this year, in the first third of the year, only 1 person has exceeded that threshold, and the district has recovered $90,000. So one of the things this page is telling us here is that we're not having as many catastrophic large loss claims that we've had in the past, and that's helping the plan's performance. Yes?
If I might, Madam Chair, in regards to stop loss, our fiscal year is different from the medical year, correct? So in regards to our medical year, are we looking at any others that might hit that stop loss, have some savings if that happens, or?
Yes, the contract renews every January, and it's part of the rates that are determined or negotiated are based on the losses that you have. But that contract runs January through December.
What I'm saying, the calendar year of the stop loss insurance, let's say some that might get to that where we might get a reimbursement. Is there any others that you might see that within that year, within the medical year? Any more people that might?
Oh yes, yeah, there definitely could be some, and we would expect there might be some. So but early in the year, it's good that we're only seeing 1 person over the threshold so far.
Madam Chair, yes, ma'am. I have a question, I'm sorry, on the CDHP, and I think it's mainly at chat. I saw that there's 93, right? People that are on it now, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I know that's the best plan by far. So I was wondering, have you still educating the population that's coming in, because it's such a great program. And I thought maybe if some of the 93 would help you, because after the first year they start the benefit.
Yes, and that's my mission, is to increase the CDHP contribution in my current employees and during orientation, and those that come visit me in my office to educate them, compare the out-of-pocket costs, and really, of course, it's always dependent on family experience and whatnot, whether their medical costs are going to, what they're going to need in regards to medical costs. So basically, the option from taxability to coverage, and all of those things matter, and it is something that I do inform employees that is a viable option for them.
I know a lot of people don't understand it, that's why
that is something that I do.
Okay, thank you so much, because I know that that's probably the best. Thank you.
Sure. And so, yes, there's a constant reevaluation of communications with employees, and education about the consumer-driven health plan is certainly important. Then also, we had a real productive meeting with the insurance committee just a few weeks ago. As a result of that, we've also created some other communication pieces for the district to help educate employees about the importance of remaining inside the provider network, what to do if a healthcare provider tries to bill you for more than you actually owe them. And then secondly, one of the things that's prevalent, and even in your own tax base, you've got several freestanding emergency rooms that are coming forth. And those are high-cost areas to seek care. I know they have good advertising. You can walk in, they have snacks and water, but they're not actually a true hospital-based emergency room. They're not considered in-network providers, and a lot of employees that go there find that after the claim gets paid, they're still left owing a significant amount of money. And so we've got some communications going forth on that too, to help educate people that even though it's there, and if it's the, you know, the nice thing about your geographic location here is you do have the freestanding emergency rooms kind of dotted all around you, but you also have Sierra Providence West, just literally within a mile of one of the freestanding emergency rooms. So what I encourage employees that if it's really a true emergency, use the hospital-based emergency room. The freestanding emergency room that's not a contracted network provider can end up costing you more money if you go there. Of course, if it's that critical, then by all means go ahead and go to just where.
Madam Chair, I just have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
I've noticed that some insurances have been doing telecom, where you can actually visit the doctor via at home in your pajamas if you're really sick, from your phone or your computer, and some insurances are offering it actually for free with no copay at all. Is that something that, I don't know if the board would be
considering
anything that, I think it would be a good benefit if, I know a lot of insurances are saying it's better that they, it prevented, I don't think it's actually, I think it's pretty much like, I've got a cold, I got this, I got that. Yeah, and you do it via
the telenurse?
Yeah, telenurse, there you go.
So the most popular one's called Teledoc, but there are several different vendors out there that are offering that, and it is becoming a more prevalent benefit. Within your contract with Blue Cross Blue Shield, it's the district makes the benefit decisions, and so it's certainly something that could be offered, and whether you wanted to offer it at no copay, or what most plans do would go ahead and offer it at maybe a reduced copay compared to what you might pay for a primary care visit. But a primary care visit on average costs the district about $90 to $100 per plan or per claim, or for just basic visit. The Teledoc version or the WebMD or virtual visits, whichever name you want to give it, the cost of that generally runs about $45. So for things
affordable that way.
It would be better than going to the urgent care center. Definitely better than going to the freestanding emergency room, and a lower cost option than a primary care.
And they save an emergency room, beds, nurses.
Correct.
Things, yeah.
And it's not for all types of services. Probably the most common would be like fevers, earaches, sore throats, things like that. And some of them, even though Blue Cross offers, that's who you currently have administering your plan, they offer several different options if that's something that the district wants to consider. And so, like we talked about with the insurance committee, we're a long ways away. We could make a plan design change in mid-year if that was what was important. But the financial aspect of the plan isn't really asking for any more money from the district or from employees or some benefit changes, or as we talked about with the committee, you know, the only changes we would want to consider are things that you want to make, not things that you have to do to do that. So that could certainly be something for them to consider, or for you to consider.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, sir.
For the board. At this point, the Blue Cross plan that we do have, and Randy as well, we do have an option where our employees, before they make that emergency room visit in the middle of the night, that we do have a dial-a-nurse number, which if you go into my office, I have magnets all over my computer that have that number. And, you know, employees can make that call to that nurse hotline and give them their symptoms. And they probably won't get a prescription like if they do through an intercom interface with a provider, but they can talk to a real-life nurse or an LVN.
They could detect an emergency just in case.
Exactly. They can avoid having that $5,000 emergency room visit to a standalone emergency room. So that is a possibility that we do have now in our plan. And it is part of our plan documents that we have on our website as well. So that number is on there on the website.
That number is provided.
Yes, ma'am.
Super.
And that was referred to as a 24-hour nurse line. So again, you can just call, ask general questions, but it's not a true office visit or a doctor visit.
Any more questions?
So moving right along, page number 9 is kind of a dashboard report, and some of the questions you're asking, you can see the impact here on this page, right, on this one. So this basically is showing you 2016, 2017, and year-to-date data in 2018. In the top portion, it gives us the same metrics, all, the totals all add up. We just slice it and dice it different ways. Top part, we have medical and prescription drug claims broken out. In the middle part, you can measure claims by relationship. So average claim costs for employees, spouses, or children. And then in the bottom portion, average claims cost by the plan. And all the way over on the right gives you some easy numbers to compare. This is the average per member per month cost. And so when we look down in that lower right-hand quadrant, you can see historically the premium plan is the highest cost plan. That's the one with the lowest deductibles, co-pays, et cetera, as it attracts your highest utilizers under the plan. Your consumer-driven health plan averages cost so far year to date is $186, but you can see that it stays real close also to your basic plan. So in terms of what a lot of employers are doing is encouraging employees and incentivizing them through payroll reduction costs. The district does make some contribution to their health saving account if they participate in that plan, but by migrating people into that plan, it's better for them financially, and it's also better for the district in the long run. It helps promote more awareness and consumerism, and that's where it gets its name, Consumer-Directed Health Plan, to help employees understand how things work and how much they cost, and incentivize them to be a little more consumer-oriented when they make decisions to go out and consume health care. Like, should I go to the freestanding emergency room, the urgent care center, my doctor's office visit, call the nurse line, or go to the hospital? So all of those things have different costs associated with it. Page number 10 just gives us a bar chart of the cost of claims by month, and you can see how the line is staying relatively stable there. Page number 11 gives you an even longer timeline comparison of the average cost per member per month all the way back to 2010. So you can see that there was this jump back in 2014, 2015, where our fund reserve was depleted. We had to make some tough decisions in terms of funding, but you can see since that time, things have started to level off. Page number 12 gives us a representation of the cost by the plan. So this is just a linear chart that compares to that table we just talked about on the dashboard report. And then if we go to page number 14, this is the math behind the forecast and the summary. And so again, this plan runs on a calendar year basis. And one of the key things, that we were striving to do when we made some changes in the funding and the district increased its contribution about a year ago, the fund balance was in the negative numbers. And currently, it would show that we began the year at about $600,000. So we went from minus a little bit below zero to $600,000 in January. We predict that on the plan's performance so far, that come December 31, we would be at about a $1.4 million level. And you can see that second row from the bottom, the target that we're trying to get to is $1.6 million. And we've got some conservative estimates. We're assuming the pace of inflation will stay at 9%. We just saw in the chart that it's hovering below that. We expect that over time, the cost of care is going to go up for both medical and prescription drug. So even using the conservative inflation adjustment, we would think that the plan is good with the current benefits, the key benefits, the funding from both the district and from employees, and that we would expect that by the end of December 31 of 2019, you should have close to $2 million in the fund balance. So there's no need, I was hoping we'd be able to come back prior to the start of your budget year and say the district could back off of its contribution if you wanted to, but we are seeing the claims start to increase. We're seeing some of the costs start to escalate, but we're still on target to reach our goal of restoring the reserve to the desired level, if not sooner, no later than December of 2019. And that's without changing any benefits or rates. And that concludes the report.
So currently, board, I guess the good news is that on the district side, there is no need to increase contributions at all, which is great news for our budget. And then of course, remember that we come twice a year to discuss or give you an update. And during the summer, we'll come back, see how the plan works. I don't anticipate in talking to Randy that we may not need to make any adjustments to the employee side of it. But tonight the discussion is on the district side, so there is no increase on the district side.
And I have a question, please. So right now, okay.
Yes.
Okay. I have a question for HR. So when we come to when do we look at the options? You know, like, if we're gonna continue to add the Cadillac plan and all those. When does that come in? I'm not sure.
We normally do that over the summer.
Oh, okay.
And we have those discussions. If we need to make any changes, then of course we'll be back to discuss this with the board, because we'd like to have it all in place before we have open enrollment. So during that time is when we look at the employee side. Right now, we look at the district side. Like I said, there's no need for any increases. And if the plan continues to perform as it looks like so far, then possibly there may not be any increases on the employee side. There are other options that we could bring. For example, in talking about the premium plan, I know that was something that we said, but we don't want to, at some point the board said they did not want to do away with the plan. However, I know during our committee meeting, our health benefits committee meeting, there was some discussion about maybe putting a freeze on it. Everybody that's on there now stays on there. We just don't allow any more enrollment into that premium plan so that we could control those costs even more. But those are discussions that we will have with the committee moving forward down the road. And then if there are any suggestions, of course, we'll bring that to the board at a later time.
So my question would be, I guess, is if you look, you know, on that last chart you saw, you could see where the cost was. We all know the cost. So you're saying that, so that has to be done this summer, because, so I guess I'm asking Randy, is it the recommendation to keep the high plan? We're not there yet.
Right now, yes. Right now, everything stands as it is. Now, the recommendation down the road could possibly be, like I said, we tossed around, Randy, when we were in the committee meeting, that, you know, maybe we don't do away with the premium plan, but maybe we freeze it, where everybody that's enrolled in it stays in it if they choose to, but then we don't allow any other people to enroll in it. And so we have all the other plans that they can choose. Now, that would be an option that, like I said, we can discuss with the benefits committee, see how they feel about it, and that at a later date, we can discuss that with the board.
So I guess board members, I guess that's something, you know, I've been on that committee for 25 years, so one time I got off it. And I know that it's costing the district more than the others. And so I don't know, I guess maybe we should think about it. I don't know how we do it, is to look at the health plan, is to look at that, and maybe looking at that, I'd rather much see the CDHP, consumer-driven plan, be the place to be.
Ms. Brigham, and the last time that we brought this forward, where we had to make changes on the employee side, the rates did increase, and that had caused some migration from that plan from the premium plan. People migrated into the CDHP and into the standard plan. So that's why the numbers now on the premium plan are a lot lower than they used to be.
I agree with that, but it's still costing us. So what I'm saying is, it's less people, but it's costing us more money.
Yes, Mr. Coronel.
Madam Chair, thank you. Randy, do we have any statistics on a percentage of premium between the plans and how much benefits we're paying? Do you have anything like that?
We do. I don't have it right off the top of my head. Are you asking, revenues?
That might give us an idea of what.
Yes.
I mean, it's the fact that we're paying more doesn't necessarily mean they're paying in terms of the premium percentage-wise. No, but it does look like obviously the services are being higher premium plan Carity because obviously it's got a better benefits budget. I'd like to see some of those.
Some differences?
We have a report we can generate and have it sent to you there that show the contributions by each plan, how much the district puts into each plan, the employees put in each plan versus how much comes out. And historically, the premium plan is always in the red, and the consumer-driven health plan is always in the black.
Yeah.
And you can see even on that chart on page number 9, the average cost of a person in the premium plan, just the claims expense alone, $871 per month, and the district's contribution into the plan is $635. So there's a shortfall right off the bat of close to $200 per month.
I mean, since we are a self-funded plan, I mean, it's they're benefiting at the expense of the other plans. So we percentage-wise, we need the data to look at. Sure.
And that's been the issue that has been brought up when we've discussed it. So now that there's less people on that premium plan, then maybe, like I said, let us take the suggestions to the benefits committee, and then over the summer we can bring some possible suggestions to the board.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to hear that. Whenever you have that information, Coronado requested, I think that more information we get, it is complex.
Yes, Randy will send that, and we'll make sure it gets in the Thursday packet.
Thank you. Question? Next item?
Next item, ma'am.
7B, discussion and action regarding process for appeal filed by Al Aleman.
Thank you, Board President Trout, Dr. Alves, members of the board. Steve Blanco, legal counsel for the district. I need to have the board give some direction and make a decision regarding the hearing for Luis Aleman. You may or may not recall that on April the 27th, Mr. Aleman was issued notice for the proposal to notice the proposal to non-renew his term contract. He did timely file an appeal on May 11, 2018. The district policy for non-renewal of term contracts requires that the board make a decision as to how the hearing will be handled. The hearing is required to be held within 15 days from the date of the appeal. That would have set us on the day after Memorial Day, given the holiday. Obviously, that's not going to happen. The lawyer for Mr. Aleman and I have discussed it, and the education code allows the parties to extend the period of time for the hearing. Obviously, summer time is coming, so it is to nobody's detriment that the hearing time be extended. We're allowed to extend it up to 45 days. Jim Darnell is Mr. Aleman's lawyer. He's told me he will agree to a hearing sometime within the month of June. So we'll have to set it. The option for the board is to take one, hear it yourselves, which is an evidentiary hearing, which I don't recommend. The second option is that the board can designate a lawyer licensed in the state of Texas to serve as a hearing officer. This is a little different than a TEA appeal where TEA assigns a hearing officer. Our policy does not follow that procedure. We'll be talking about whether we should revise that. But our option is to designate a Texas licensed attorney who is not affiliated with any school district, is not serving any school district, is not a lawyer for any union or teachers group, is not currently representing any teacher in any case against a school district, to serve as the hearing officer. So we will have to reach out to a few lawyers that I know, ask them if they will serve as a hearing officer, and then we will bring it back to the board for approval. But we do need to advise Mr. Aleman which option we are going to use. Does the board want to hear it yourselves, or do you want to appoint a hearing officer who's a licensed attorney? So we need a decision from the board. My recommendation would be that you authorize us to locate and retain a licensed attorney to hear, and then we'll set the hearing and bring it back to the board.
And Mr. Blanco, do we need to take the decision now?
Yes.
Okay.
I move to approve Mr. Blanco's recommendation.
Someone second?
Yes.
There's a motion and a second. Ms. Brigham?
Yes.
Mr. Coronado?
Yes.
Ms. Fritzy?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mrs. Searles?
Yes.
Mrs. Trout?
Yes.
And Mrs. Iglesias?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 8, adjournment. So what time is it, Sonia?
It is now 7:58.
7:58. Thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned.
They could, but I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they're just go to the hearing. I think they're gonna do that for the hearing, else just recommendation.
Ward, I'm sorry, could you give us just 1 minute?
Thank you.
So the motion calls. Madam Member.
Thank you so much. Oh, we have 2 birthdays on May. So we have Mr. Rodriguez, and which was this past Sunday, and we have Miss Mary Iglesias on Friday.
Thank you, Ms.
So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mary Armando. Happy birthday to you. Cha cha cha.
Thank you.
No, I can't look at it.
That's fine. Oh, yeah, that's 100%.
Thank you, Councilman.
Okay.